China has banned wealth-flaunting from social media. Shane, tell us more.
Wow.
That's right. Well, I was going to say to Humberto's point about the Cold War, we could have ended the Cold War, or we could have prevented it from beginning. We could have ended communism, killed it in the cradle, when General George Patton, who was one of the late great heroes of our country,
was killed. Sorry.
he wanted, after World War II ended, they defeated the Nazis. He wanted to keep going into Soviet Russia and then destroy Russia.
Yep.
And then mysteriously, he died in a car accident in an army truck, and another army truck hit him. And they believe that Eisenhower orchestrated it.
I've gone down some rabbit holes. That is not one I've gone down.
Because Patton was basically just too based for this world. But instead
Eisenhower wasn't half the man that Patton was.
Who wasn't?
Eisenhower wasn't half the man that Patton
Exactly.
was.
He should have been the president. But so instead of that future playing out, instead we have this one where China is the major communist power in the world, and they've decided that they want to ban wealth flaunting on social media.
Now, if I wanted to read more about this, where could I go?
Well, there's a great article on it on VT.com. China launches crackdown of wealth flaunting social media posts. They write. The Communist Party of China has begun banning users for wealth-flaunting behavior on social media as part of a wider effort to clamp down on ostentatious displays of wealth. Wang Hongquan-Sing, I have no idea how to say that.
Sounds like a porn star, Wang Hong.
Yeah. Who has been termed China's Kim Kardashian, so you're right in more ways than one.
Right on the
I wasn't
money.
far off.
The thing is, though, about China's Kim Kardashian is, if we could show these pictures of him, he's a dude, first
it's
of
a
all.
guy?
Wow.
It's a dude. And
Hey, isn't that guy in the BTS that we talked about on Wednesday?
Yeah, so this is like China's version, except they don't have any talent. They just
sorry, that's Korea. Okay,
they
sorry.
just steal. Yes, not all of them are the same, Rob.
I guess I was saying that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so this is actually a great example of the Tale of Two Cities, where you have an actual communist country, China, where you can rise to the top by having probably no talents like this guy. His family's probably red aristocracy, they call it, which is when you're in the one-party state government for so long that your family collects so many paychecks off the backs of working Chinese people, and you become very wealthy. Or his dad is the owner of some big corporation in China, and every corporation in China is integrated with the government, so in effect, it's the exact same thing, red aristocracy. So the oligarchy of China, their children want to flex like the Westerners do on social media. He says that he never leaves the house with less than 10 million yuan, which is 1.38 million US dollars
Why
on
would
his
you
body.
ever need that?
$1.5 million on his body.
What do you mean? Like in cash? You're on a cart? Like
No, like clothing and accessories. So jewelry,
okay.
bags.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
And
Wow.
so what were you going to say, Rob?
Well, I would never flaunt that. If you remember, there was a crime syndicate in Hollywood that was breaking into celebrities' homes and stealing millions of dollars worth of jewelry and other artifacts and antiques from these homes because the celebrities show it on social media. It's the same reason why they tell you if you're going to go on vacation, don't post that shit on Facebook because then people know your home is unattended and they can break into it.
And when you go to certain places on vacation as well, like if you have Rolexes, if you have nice stuff, don't wear it. Like I know people, like even in places like Spain, places in Europe, where you'll all of a sudden be circled and. That
There's
shit gets-
stories all the time. Miami, you see it big time, where these people will go out to a club, they'll have a drink with a girl. The girl either will slip the Rolex off their watch
one of
at the
those.
club, or they go back to the guy's apartment, they drug the guy, and then they steal the guy's Rolexes. Now, I have no experience in this because I don't have a Rolex, but it sounds fun. As far as the guy part, like, hey, go have some drinks with a fine lady, and then you get a nice snooze. Problem is you wake up, and then your Rolex collection is gone.
Right.
They would steal, what, my fucking iPhone? Yeah, okay. Great, I can't get that back.
Well, it's under your kidney.
I mean,
They're Jesus.
that's true. So yeah, there's also a drill rapper in New York who Pop Smoke, who was murdered because of bragging about how much jewelry he had on Instagram Live. They came to his house and killed him.
Government?
No, it's just other rappers or gang people, whatever.
Oh, you're talking
So
about
this guy
America.
walks around
Yeah, in
with,
America.
Okay.
This guy walks around with $1.13 million worth of jewelry and clothing.
At least
But in Chinese money.
in Chinese money. But no, that's 1.38 million US dollars.
Okay.
10 million
Yeah.
Chinese money.
Oh, wow.
And so he shows off his 7 properties in Beijing, showing off his sports cars, his full staff of maids. But all of his clips disappeared when his Douyin account, which is the Chinese version of TikTok, because they have a different version of TikTok where they don't get to see our version. They get to see people doing math and like painting and, productive activities.
Right.
His account was locked and rendered unavailable to his more than 4 million followers. It says his page was suspended due to violations of Douyin's community guidelines. He was banned from Weibo and some other thing I can't say, 2 popular Chinese social media apps. Other social media users, such as Bo Gongzi, who goes by Young Wealthy Lord Bai, with 3 million followers, was banned, and so was Abalone's sister, with 2.3 million. The former would post videos of him carrying his dog around in his handbags, and the latter posted a video touring her mansion in the city of Macau. So basically, this is all because the Chinese Cyberspace Administration, which regulates the country's internet, launched a crackdown on influencers who create a wealth-flaunting persona, deliberately showcasing a luxurious lifestyle built on money in order to attract followers and traffic. They go on to say, once materialism starts spreading, it can have a bad influence on teenagers. Hence, this trend of luxury on the internet needs to be stopped. It continues to say that
it's weird, but the more that I hear about how the Chinese regulate some of their social media, the more I'm like, oh, I'm kind of like a communist.
So that's what I was going to ask you
for it.
guys.
So, but is it
What do
only
you think about this?
Is it only with regards to social media though? That's all they can do. They can't deduct a point from your social credit score or anything along those lines.
It doesn't
at least at this point.
It doesn't seem to have anything to do with social credit yet, but it is about their whole social system where they want to police virtue.
Got
And
you.
especially because they're in an economic downturn, which I want to turn to Brandon about, they don't want people feeling jealous and creating this national disunity. And also this feeling of, well, I can't get ahead and this guy's so rich, so why should I try?
So is it the government
cetera.
policing it or the platform, the social media platform?
It's the government.
Come from the
Okay.
government.
The government's
Interesting.
telling them what to do.
So we were talking a little bit before this. So I used to be involved before getting into media. I was in the world of fintech. I actually helped some multi-level marketing, network marketing companies with some of their marketing campaigns and strategies. And it's funny, for the majority of network marketing or MLM companies, it's actually against their guidelines for you to post any type of wealth flaunting. So for example, if you're a multi-million-dollar earner, top 0.1% of your company, and you post a picture like in front of your Lambo or something like that, that is grounds to be suspended from the company because they don't want you creating any type of unrealistic expectations, right? Because the fact of the matter is there's only a small percentage of people who are going to actually achieve that income, so they consider it to be disingenuous marketing,
Yeah.
It's funny how in the US you can see this type of thing play out in a specific industry, but China's saying, no, this is our whole country. This is how it's going to go down from here
Across
on
the
out.
board.
I tell you what, at least this is honest. At least there's a little bit of
Honest.
honesty on them doing this. Like, I mean, in this new world order where everything is the same, every place is the same, we have this veneer of democracy. I don't see much difference between China and Switzerland and here in America. You have the super rich doing whatever they want. You know, you have a strip mall after strip mall, and you see how people that need to pay 10 times their salary for rent, they start piling up. And at least they're putting a stop to it. But this is exactly the same as it happens everywhere, you know? And why are they stopping this? Because the founding argument was class conflict, and this actually creates class conflict when
Right.
you put the boot on top of people, like all the population that is enslaved in China right now, and this guy is walking around with $1.2 million. And it also talks about the values. Like anything that he wears will look cheap. Okay, like $1.2 million?
1.38.
1.38. Like a very rare vintage watch will cost more than that. Okay, so like $1.3 million is probably like a very expensive AP watch or a very expensive, a very expensive watch, a few $1,000s in clothes, and that's what it is. So the guy walks around with a nice watch and a few properties. But it doesn't mean anything and it doesn't change anything. But they know where they're heading, because class class envy will start spiking up, and the corruption, the level of corruption everywhere, it's just so deep. And this is like like the paint. This is a facade that we have. A Nancy Pelosi, who's a billionaire, making insider trade,
I was just gonna say, a lot of what I was saying about the red aristocracy, doesn't that sound very familiar to our own situation, where we have these children of the government? I mean, just on the video, there was Douglas Emhoff, our second man, Kamala Harris's husband. His daughter is like flaunting all sorts of social capital on Instagram. I don't know if you know her, but she's this like hipster, lives this like carefree life. There's a million examples of children of the elite in America acting just like that kid.
Well, both China and America are simmering right now when it comes to the youth. So, I mean, for China, it's like a 25% youth unemployment rate because there's no jobs left for the things that they're going to school for. Like, they were misled with the things that they were told were going to be productive. And then, you have things going out of business because nobody's spending money because they don't have enough people in their younger generation to spend enough money to sustain the businesses that are already established. So, like, they have protests breaking out already because of this, because of all this, like, youth frustration. The vast majority of kids have to live with there's a 9 to, there's only like 9 men or 9 women for every man in China because of the one-child population thing. So the vast majority of young men in China are living with their parents, can't find a wife, and the average priced house in China costs, I think, 46 years of an average salary it takes to buy an average priced home in China.
Wow.
While it's common knowledge that there's enough empty housing units to house the entire population a second time, but that's just sitting there to prop up their real estate bubble because that's the vast majority of their economy. These houses and buildings that just get built for no reason.
Sounds like a powder keg.
Yeah, big time.
What?
A powder keg.
Powder keg.
It's like a barrel of TNT that's about to explode. All you need is a match.
Oh, gotcha.
So why don't
it's
they
like-
use that? Please pardon my ignorance. I'm not very well versed in Chinese housing. Why don't they house the people in those homes then if they continue to build them and they sit empty?
Because they're owned as second homes for people who already own homes because it's the only reliable investment in China that they feel comfortable investing in. Like, the vast majority of them don't trust the stock market. They're not allowed to invest in crypto. So they literally just buy a second home, and it's more profitable for them to just let it sit there than rent it out because they're culturally, the value falls off a cliff if they let somebody live in it. So they just let the price go up because they're like,
Does
they're,
it appreciate though? Like to a decent degree?
Well, the last
or-
20 years, their experience is that it just infinitely appreciates because they've been, it's building this debt bubble, but that's not permanent.
And
Right.
plus, you wouldn't want to live in one of those houses. You guys on the internet know they're called tofu buildings, that they're more for investing purposes. So, like, if you walk into one of these apartment buildings that are made to flaunt to the west, you can touch a wall and it will just crumble. The toilets don't work, fake mirrors, fake windows. So they're just there because it's the only thing they can own, and it's the only way to put wealth away. So it's disgusting. Everything is disgusting. Jesus Christ, I'm dark today.
So before we wrap up,
What do you think about this, Rob?
Well, my question to you guys was, do you want to see some type of... I'm not for the banning of social media. I think that I am for the banning of TikTok under the guise of that it was a national security concern. That being said, I think that it should sell to another company that can operate within the United States. I think Americans should be allowed to utilize the app. I'm not in favor of any type of social media censorship. So to ban people from flaunting their wealth, I don't care to watch it. I don't look at it. I don't subscribe, but that's my choice. Do you guys see any type of... Would you be in favor of, or do you see this type of censorship coming to the United States? You're shaking your head no, Brandon.
Yeah, no, I think it's a weak move because I think, like, it's not going to be everybody, but I think a lot of people get motivated by that stuff and say, like, hey, like, even though things, like, could look somewhat hopeless, I'm going to do everything in my power to put myself in that position. And, not everybody will get there, but, enough people do to where it's, like, worth it to some people, and you don't have to watch it if it makes you unhappy.
No, but I see that play out in real time with our Vault conference, which, by the way, you can buy tickets at vault2024.conference.com. I think. I don't know the website. Go to vt.com. You can buy them there. But a lot of the stories that I hear are people who started following Pat's content. They were small business operators. They saw how Pat was able to scale his business. He was able to become somebody on social media that could show what hard work has earned, and those people were motivated to that, and now they're spending money to go to a conference that the average everyday person can't afford to go to.
Yeah.
But these leaders in business can. Why? Because they were motivated by seeing somebody like Patrick Bet-David do it.
Right.
There's a saying that's like, I don't say this to impress you, but to impress upon you. And I think that
I like that.
This
Yeah.
content can sometimes drive people in the wrong direction. But for a country like China, where they don't know any better, where they are subject to absolutely terrible conditions, I think it's doing them more of a disservice to see that content barred, to have it blocked, because how are they ever going to know that they can aspire to something bigger or greater in the same way that the people who attended Volt, they were inspired by Patrick?
Yeah, I think it's a waste when it comes, like my wife watches Below Deck. And she's like,
Oh, no.
I should have been a deckhand. Look
I
at
know
how
one
much.
of the
And I
girls
go,
on there.
are you fucking nuts? You get seasick. How would you be a deckhand? We can't go on a ferry without you throwing up over the side. So like, there's people like that waste their time. But the people that actually are utilizing that information, seeing that as motivation, and then going out in the world and applying that, like, go ahead, Bravo. I want Bravo banned in my house, but I certainly don't want Wealth-Flaunting banned from my social feed.